Film. Welcome to Tush Twins, who I can't control. This is Malcolm Berman, and you're listening on malcolmpresents.com. And here we have the two Tush Twins who are totally uncontrollable, I think they took too much acid today. But anyway.
Well,
not today.
The kook is dressed up. The only thing I could find was this Beatles songbook.
Max, introduce who we are.
Oh, I don't know who we are today. We're
Tush Twins.
We're the Tush Twins. You see, we got the
man.
T and the U somehow, and the S and the H, whatever. I don't know. But this is the intro. So move over, Lucy and Ethel and Laverne and Shirley, Thelma and Louise, Betty and Wilma, Tina and the crew at SNL, Amy, Tina, and Amy, right? That's what that is.
Yeah.
And because you know what? Here come Tush Twins with tales of friendship from Brooklyn, and beyond. Brooklyn, Brooklyn, with me, Maxine Faith, and the redhead Paula Rose, aka Rusty, aka the redhead,
aka Auntie Cuckoo.
Auntie Cuckoo, absolutely. And she's the god Marja to my son and to my dog. So there you go.
And I'm Malcolm Berman, and I feel like I'm the ringmaster.
Malcolm is the Tush
You're
bro.
part of Terry. He's a Terry Toon Tush Twin.
He's the Tush bro. Malcolm is the Tush bro. Whether you like it or not, Malcolm.
or the tamer, I don't know.
One of the two. You could tame us.
Right.
No one can tame me.
Good. Sorry. There's no containing us. When we hit a certain point, our husbands do not know what to do with us.
That's why they call us the Tush Twins.
No, I know what to do with you. I just said end recording.
Yeah. Well, I can do the same thing. I can leave. So.
Well, before we start our wonderful, funny show, I just want to wish the people in Ukraine safe. And my heart goes out to everyone in the Ukraine and the people.
It's pretty bad.
It really does.
I didn't hear the news today.
You don't want to hear the news.
You don't want to hear it. It's just very sad. And I just want to wish the people of Ukraine our deepest wishes for a speedy takeover of Russia.
Yeah.
Well, there's songs in here that just, bring me back.
To old Virginia.
A day in the life, fixing a hole. We can only hope it's getting better. That's all I can say. And with a little help from my friends, I think they need a lot of help from us.
They need a lot of help. Well, so far, I don't know, just getting a little political. Did you hear the State of the Union yesterday?
The State of the Union, yes, I did hear the State of the Union. And I heard these two Republican women shout out over what Biden, when he was talking about his son, and it is horrific.
Yeah, what did they say? I didn't hear them. I heard him look up.
They basically said when he was talking about his son with cancer, and there's certain things that that give off these terrible chemical things when you're in certain parts of war. I don't know what they're called. And she screams out, "Remember the 13 that were killed in Afghanistan, when we were leaving." And of course we remember that. But to do that when he's talking about losing his son who fought in the war.
Well, it didn't have its place.
No,
whatever.
But
hey,
now
here we are, the Tush Twins. We wish for peace.
That's all I wanted to say. I wish for peace and
love.
Peace and love.
Okay, well, now you guys going back to the peace era. You were going to talk about your trip.
Yes, 1973.
Yeah.
Maxine talked me into going into a trip across country by Continental Trailways.
Oh, I thought you were tripping.
We weren't
No, who we
tripping.
were, but that's besides the
We
point.
got this cheap pass that you can go anywhere in the United States, and it was like under $100 with some ridiculous.
$99
Something
Eagle
like that.
Pass. It was called the Eagle Pass.
And you can go anywhere. You can just go.
And we did.
anywhere. And we decided that, another friend of mine from Brooklyn College was supposed to come, and she like bailed. And so Dulcie, if you're listening, you bailed. And
Yeah, she missed out on all this.
she missed out on quite the trip.
It was you want to look at rocks.
Yeah. Right. Well, she was in my geology class.
Yeah.
So we figured, we'd look at rocks, because there's a lot of them in Bryson Zion Park and the Grand Canyon. Tons of them.
Lots of rocks.
We saw a lot of rocks.
But it
Definitely.
started on a morning.
I don't know.
Maxine's parents picked me up in my apartment. I have pictures of us. I should have brought them out the
Oh, if
downstairs.
you do, I want copies of that.
Yeah, I have pictures of us on this
Oh, you
trip.
should
I even have a
have.
picture of the guy that we met in Zion.
Right. Well,
with
we
you
were
and him.
supposed to, we ordered up to have a tour. That's how that
Yes.
started, because it was a cabin. It was a cabin.
Cabin, yes.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah.
So we leave.
Right.
And your parents take us, now this is my biggest memory of the beginning of the trip. They take us to the Port Authority bus terminal. Back then, they had lockers. And since we had like 3 hours to wait for our bus, you and I sat on these chairs watching TV, 25 cents for
Oh, right,
50 for a
right.
half hour. So
Right.
we watched TV.
Yeah. Well, what else are we gonna do? I mean, when I can almost call this, as much as we saw amazing beauty on this trip, we also saw sketchy bus stations. across
Oh
the
my
country.
God.
I mean, some of them were just,
Chicago was one of the worst.
I couldn't imagine letting an 18 and 19-year-old teenage girls go across the country by themselves on a bus.
Bus.
What were our parents possibly thinking?
Well, we were together.
But we were together, but we were alone going cross country in 1973. What the hell? Peace and love. I mean, it's like, okay.
But the best part was going through Pennsylvania, and we kept saying, are we out of Pennsylvania yet?
Right. And we
That was
weren't.
hours upon
But it was
hours.
that was also up in like Wyoming, in the upper tier. We kept making this joke. It's miles and miles.
Miles and miles and
miles.
miles
It's
and
miles and
miles and miles and miles.
And we
and
would
miles.
think, what's there? It has to be like the nuclear, or I mean, it has to be something's buried underground. This is probably where all the nukes are. There was just nothing for hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
But I remember going to Chicago, which is one of the, we went through Pennsylvania. I mean, they made stops getting people on and off, and then we went to Chicago. And I remember going to
4 o'clock in the
Chicago.
morning.
No, it was like sunrise. It was like early. It was just
Yeah,
the morning,
sure,
like
4 or 5
8
o'clock in the morning.
No, because there was sun. The sun was up, and we saw it was early, but the sun was up, and we're coming in where we should see the skyline,
Mhm.
right? But there was no real skyline because the pollution was so bad that the haze blocked the sun. See, that's when I first really became aware we're screwed. It was back then, and it just put in my brain, we can't exist like this. And
And we had to change buses.
yes,
And
we had to
the
change
People,
buses.
the bus driver says, do not leave the area by the bus terminal. Do not go
Right.
out and walk around.
Right, exactly, and we heard
Is that
that a
type of
lot.
neighborhood?
The bus drivers kind of kept an eye on us.
Yes.
Like these 2 idiot girls from New York, like what?
And
are
I
we
had a
doing?
real suitcase. I was carrying a freaking suitcase.
Right, there was no
not even a-
rollers. There was no
No.
rollers. We both had suitcases. Right.
Something that reminds me, in I think it was about 73, 74, and I was living in Manhattan. And I wanted to visit, I was looking for a job, and there was something that I wanted to investigate in San Francisco. So there was this underground bus that I picked up on 72nd Street and West End Avenue.
Right.
It was like $100 cross country.
Oh, God.
I get
Did
into
you
the
go?
bus. Yeah, I went. I got into the bus. Half of the seats were ripped out
Yeah.
Oh,
because
and the smell. Oh, the
you
smell.
had all the hippies.
Oh,
I was a
yeah.
little bit older then. I think I was about 30. So,
Mhm.
We
but you
were
had
17,
all like
18 and
18,
19.
19-year-old kids, and they were sleeping in their sleeping bags.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we
We slept
closed
on the
the
buses a lot.
We slept a lot on the
and
buses.
when we closed the door in the bus, everybody lit up joints.
Ooh.
We didn't do
And,
We
that,
didn't do
but
that. It
and
was a regular bus,
we
you know,
didn't want to get
continental.
it wasn't
arrested
regular.
either. So.
And then we were going through Texas, and the bus driver would pick up hitchhikers only if they carried, if they had joints or something.
Wow, that
And,
wouldn't really work for us.
Our
We were
next
two
stop was
white chicks from New York and
took
young.
3 days, and it took 3 days to get to Utah. No,
Right.
Flagstaff first.
Did we go to Flagstaff?
Flagstaff
That's-
first, yeah, Flagstaff, Arizona. Then we went to Zion
So we
and
went
then
to
to Bryce.
Flagstaff,
Mhm.
and
you probably
Of
went through
course
Route 10,
we had to eat.
Yeah.
Southern
I
Route.
don't know, must have been 10. A lot of in all the interstates, highways.
Yeah, because in Dallas, it was like weird too.
Well, yeah. Well, we stopped in Amarillo. Remember, the bus
Yes.
stopped at a
Mhm, yeah.
diner in
Mhm.
Amarillo, Texas. Amarillo.
Amarillo.
Amarillo. And we go in, they would stop so you can eat. So they stopped at
Yes.
the diner in Amarillo, Texas. And we look outside and we see there must have been 15 Jeeps with
Mhm.
rifles on the
Yep.
racks.
Yep.
Rifles on the racks. So we look at each other, we were like, what the fuck? We go in, oops. We go in. Oh, so much for you two.
Bleep bleep.
We go in and there's a waitress and she goes, y'all sit down there. And we're looking like all these guys, all these like Texas dudes. And the first thing she says is, don't worry, y'all, they won't shoot you. And then I'm looking, you were like,
I was like, oh my God, because you know how I hate guns.
you were mortified.
I was mortified. I was
And
beyond
then-
mortified.
Right. And then I said, so what's good? And she goes,
We had chili.
chili. And it was
It
really
excellent.
good. It's one of the best chilies I ever had
Yes.
in my life. So I
Mhm.
remember the guns and the chili. That could be a new
Chili.
singing group. Instead of
Yeah.
Guns and
Guns
Roses,
and Roses
chili.
or Guns and Roses.
Guns and
It's-
Roses, Guns and chili.
That could be your next song.
That's right, Guns and
Yeah,
chili.
it's like Arlo Guthrie stopping in,
Alice's restaurant.
Allison Restaurant.
I don't know the name of the place. It was
But it was the
I know,
best
I-
chili I've ever had, except for mine.
It was really amazing. I don't know how it was made. I don't know what it was made with. Could have been snake for all I know.
I don't
and,
care. It was delicious.
So that was a highlight. But what wasn't a highlight was us going to the Big Boy in Flagstaff. to
That
eat.
was, your birthday.
and-
We get, yeah.
Who gets food poisoning?
Maxine!
And who has to go to the Grand Canyon with food poisoning?
Maxine!
And we were looking at the things and going, awesome. I'm like, I gotta go. And we spent most of the time looking for bathrooms versus looking at,
Yep,
it was, thank you, Big Boy,
that
it
was
was,
I treated you for dinner for your birthday.
yeah, good, thank you.
Well, who
You know
knew?
what?
We,
I could call you names, but I won't.
Okay, I insert again, during my trip back from California, I would pass the Grand Canyon. And we
Mhm.
took this, we went in the back of these donkeys, not donkeys, they're mules.
Yeah,
Mules.
donkeys.
We
Go
didn't do
down to
that.
the
We couldn't
bottom.
afford it.
And we took the trip, going down and coming up again the same day. We didn't stay over. We couldn't afford it. And these mules, it was probably just big enough. The trail was just big enough for a mule.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
And it was sometime in the winter and it had snowed, so there was snow
Oh, God.
Ooh.
and it was steep.
No,
And
we
when-
went in the
And
summer.
when
yeah.
the mule stopped, for the guide to show us what there was, they were taught to lean over the edge. because,
Just something I want to be doing anytime soon.
and
Yeah.
I was so nervous.
Hey, I
and-
went into a glider airplane without an engine, so look who's talking.
And
Well, you know what? Excuse me, I could afford to take a helicopter down now.
That's right. Well, now I'm not afraid. I'm not. Helicopters don't thrill me either.
but
But
you couldn't tell the same story. And then when I got off the mule, didn't realize I couldn't walk because I'd never stretched
Mhm.
these muscles in my thighs.
right,
Yeah.
sure. You gotta
Oh my
you gotta
God.
hang on to those mules.
Yeah,
Mule
now
train
I know
people.
why cowboys are bow-legged.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons, but that could be one of them.
We won't go into the other reasons.
We won't go into the other reasons.
Well, we
Well,
went
anyway.
from there, we spent the day, 2 days in Flagstaff, basically, just overnight. And we kept saying the place is awesome, the most
It was.
awesome
It was
looking.
awesome.
It was big, giant hole in the earth.
No, but it was just
It's just
amazing to
beautiful.
see. It was
Yes.
beautiful, right? Malcolm, you could back us up on that. It was
Yeah, I
And the
passed.
water.
I
Quite a
almost
sight.
moved there,
yeah, quite. You almost moved to the Grand Canyon.
in the Flagstaff, because it was such
Oh,
a great cosmopolitan area.
yeah. Well,
Well, it wasn't really that where we stayed at a really dinky
we-
motel.
we stayed in dinky motels because we
Now,
God
I
only
am
knows
being
what was going on in
facetious.
those motels. I mean, how
We-
we were just oblivious to everything. I mean, we were literally oblivious to this whole thing. It's like, it was like, whew, it's a
And-
Didn't we
mirage.
didn't we hitchhike with this one truck at one time with the animals in the back? Was that trip?
No. no.
And
No,
you weren't
in
on drugs
Utah.
then, right?
I wouldn't hitchhike. I would not. That would not be something I would be doing anytime soon.
Okay. Then I must have.
Les and I once hitched a ride in Florida when we got caught in this horrible storm and we rented bicycles and it must have rained 2 inches in like 10 minutes.
Well, that's what happened with us in Zion.
Well, Zion, we had this guy who was a guide. you
Yes,
know,
he's
and-
cute. I have a picture
Yeah,
of
he
him
was
with
cute,
you.
the blonde hair, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, cute guy. You know me, I had a thing for blondes back then. But anyway, we went to Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park,
Well,
which
Zion was first.
Zion was beautiful.
We went
And
to
then-
Angel Falls.
And then he took
We
us
hiked.
to Bryce,
Mhm.
which our thing was, the Grand Canyon was awesome.
awesome.
But Bryce is
Spectacular,
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Bryce is beautiful. And we went down a bit. We hiked down in the morning.
We
The
watched the
morning we were
sunrise.
leaving. We did a
Yes.
sunrise hike down.
It was
it was
30 something degrees.
Right. It was 30 something degrees. And
We had denim jackets.
it wasn't enough, but we brought the denim jackets with a couple of other layers underneath.
Yeah.
And then we were supposed to get back in time to get the bus to go to
Mhm.
Las Vegas. Because Las Vegas was on the itinerary.
Yes, it was. But don't you remember in Zion, we were hiking up to the Angel Falls,
Mhm.
and then it started to rain, then it turned to ice, and it was a flash flood. We saw the
Yeah.
water going through.
Yeah.
It was snowing. This is
It was like-
August.
Yeah, it was like the flash floods when you go to Universal, the old Universal. They would
Yeah,
show you the flash floods. But that really
this was a
happened.
flash flood. It happened. We were watching
It wasn't Universal. It was real.
tents floating away. We
Yeah,
were
it's-
up high enough, but
Right.
it was, we had to stay back.
We had to
because
stay
it was
back.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I remember
really
that was a
raining.
little. that
And it
a
was-
little-
It
Somehow
was
I
snowing
can't,
and hailing.
somehow I can't imagine you guys hiking.
No, I hike all the time
we-
now.
we
I'm a
walked-
hiker.
We walked a lot. Hey,
I'm a hiker.
You know,
I'm
we
a
don't- we-
hikeaholic.
since we walk all over the city, what's a
Yeah,
hike?
but that's not necessarily hiking, that's walking.
Yeah.
No,
but
I
you just-
hike. I hike up in the country
you
here
just
by
think,
me. I
there's-
hike.
There's trails up here we hike in. It's
Yeah, I take the whatchamacallit? the,
Appalachian Trail?
Appalachian Trail. I do the Appalachian
You
Trail
did it?
almost all the, yeah, I do it, not the whole thing, but I do the part of New Jersey. I do up to Stairway to Heaven, the boardwalk, I do
Right.
miles and miles and miles and miles. I do
So-
hiking.
So let's get back to this because we have Las Vegas and then we have the fun
Then
thing
our
towards
trip
the end of the
home.
trip.
And
So-
you have 10
Yes.
minutes to do it
So,
all.
so
Okay, we go to Vegas.
right. And we stay at the Desert Inn, I think, right?
No, it was a hacienda.
The Hacienda. Okay, one of them. All right.
Desert
I don't
Inn
know.
is my
Hacienda,
favorite
because they
hotel, by the way.
imploded. We saw them be imploded, remember? They
They
imploded the
imploded the
hotel.
Desert Inn too, I think.
Yeah, that was later, but the
Right.
Hacienda was the first one. The ice skating rink in there.
Yay!
Yay!
Viva Las Vegas. So yeah,
We went to the Sahara to see Johnny Carson and
Right.
Manhattan Transfer perform.
Mhm.
That was
a
great.
It was a great show.
That was an
first of all,
excellent
getting
show.
to see Johnny Carson in person
Mhm.
was something like we'll never forget because he's the master, you know.
Yeah, and his son was one of my closest friends. You
right.
remember
We
Ricky?
talked about Ricky, right, in the other shows, but he was loads of fun. Manhattan Transfer, we love music, so we
I
love them.
still love him.
We had a great time, and the thing was, after all those shows, this redhead here, she puts the makeup on, she put the clothes on, she did.
I
And me,
wore like
little
a
miss- you know,
I wore a harem outfit with my pupik up and the whole thing. high
you
heels.
Magini, you
Yes, I look like-
ridiculous.
I look
know.
like a hooker.
She looked like that. Someone could have come up and goes, you know, here's $50, come upstairs.
Well, they
you know.
basically, I ran. You went upstairs. I was continuing.
No,
to
there
play.
was the reason I went upstairs. You were at the slots.
Yes.
I was at the slots.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, this 6'5" guy with a 10-gallon hat taps my shoulder and goes, "Little lady, you gotta leave." He goes, "You're not of age. You don't even have to show me anything. Don't bring any fake ID in my face." He goes,
Okay, I remember that. But
"You're
you
out."
stopped me.
No. So you are basically
I
laughing
stayed.
at me. I'm going like this to you, and I have to go upstairs because where else am I going to go? You know, I'm not going to go wandering around myself at 1 o'clock in the morning. So
I won $35.
You won something, but
Yeah, we
was
got
like,
paid for breakfast and lunch the next day.
I was pissed. I'm like, Jesus, she's down there having fun while I'm up here, just like my babysitter's a pain.
Sitter's pain in the neck. But
And-
then I come running upstairs, and a half hour later, this guy starts hitting on me, and I start
Right.
panicking. And I go,
Right.
I'm sitting there running. No, ran upstairs.
Well, that's when I could have gotten, 6'5", little lady guy. He would have taken care of that, and that guy would have been like done. But we actually had, we ate pretty decent. We
had nice food.
We had nice food. We saw nice shows. So that was like the sophisticated sort of part of the journey. And then we had to head back.
We
But the
met this
strange
woman.
thing was-
We met this woman. Don't remember that teacher, the African-American teacher from Pittsburgh? And she said, if you're going back, stop by in Pittsburgh
Right.
and call her. Patricia, her name was. I remember this.
Yeah, well, I don't think we ever stopped by and
No,
called
we
her.
didn't. Well, we couldn't even
But-
get close to there.
Well, the thing was, when I couldn't understand is why we were in Las Vegas and we wanted to go back east. Why did they take us to Barstow? How did we wind up in Barstow, California?
Because the bus went back west and
I
turned
remember-
around.
I remember, I'm like, because we wanted to hit California on the trip, so we didn't care.
Yeah.
So we actually did hit California. And when we
Mhm.
hit Barstow, we
Through the
went, "Hey,
desert."
we made it to California. And then we went back. So
That's, I think, on the 15.
I don't know what it was, but so we went it straight back. We didn't stop. We stopped in Santa Fe.
Yes, we did. We stopped in and we stopped at Indian Reservation. And I got my mother those beautiful the Hopi Indians.
Right, and you got turquoise jewelry,
For my
and I
mom.
bought a cowboy hat, a real good one, for less.
No, I
That
bought
was
mine.
in
We stopped
Santa
in
Fe.
Albuquerque. We stopped
Was it
in
Albuquerque?
Albuquerque.
That's where I got the
And I
hat.
bought my mom in Santa Fe, the jewelry. Then we stopped in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I still have my hat,
Mhm.
the Black Bart hat. I still have
Right.
it.
Well, I
And
got
thank
Les.
God.
I got Les the hat in a really good store, and it was a decent amount of money. He was my boyfriend at the time. We weren't
Mhm.
engaged or anything, but I got him this good hat.
Yeah.
And then something happened to the hat because of what happened on the way back.
Home.
We wanted to go straight back, so we kind of were sleeping on the bus and just stopping where they stopped and got food and went back on the bus. And then it was nighttime, like,
Yes.
after
It was
midnight.
pouring.
It was
pouring.
pouring rain, and the bus driver was taking a turn onto one of the
Jug
highways,
handle, into Jug Handle
and
in
the
Greenville,
bus
Indiana.
skidded and flipped over.
Ooh.
Bus went round and round.
And we were in
hit the
the
ground.
Now the weird thing was, before the stop before, we had switched sides of the bus
Yes, to sleep.
because I wanted to be on the right side. And thank
Yeah.
God we were, because the bus flipped to the right.
To the right.
So we kind of went with the flip. But if you were on the other side, you were thrown. You were
Yeah, the
thrown
poor guy had
across.
glass in his butt.
Okay, well, the driver was injured and this other older
Yes.
woman was injured.
Very
But
bad.
this big hunky guy, he says, "Girls, follow me," and he kicked the glass that was shattered in the front of the windshield of the bus. He kicked it out, and we got
Yeah.
out of the bus. And then all of a sudden, all the police showed up and ambulances and taking people.
And our hats, thank God we were sleeping with the hats on top of our faces
I know, but
because they were smashed flat with
They were
glass on
smashed.
top of it.
right, it was
Wow.
smashed. And upon return, we had to get the hats,
We
fixed.
blocked because it
We
saved my
blocked,
life,
right.
saved our faces.
Right. So they took us to this hospital in Indiana, and it was like 2:30 in the morning, and she was flipped. You.
I was flipping out because they wanted to give me a Valium shot
Okay, they
by
did.
injection.
They
They gave me a
did.
pill.
No, I think they gave you a shot.
I don't
You
remember. I
trust
was
me. I
because
was
I had a
there.
concussion.
You were
I
flipping
didn't.
out. They needed, so they said, "We got to give her the shot." I said, "She's freaking for shot. Trust me." They gave you the shot. You got the
Okay, I
shot.
don't remember. I
So
had a
you were
concussion.
You were freaking out of it, right? And I had to call.
I hit my head.
Right, I had to call my folks, my dad. Imagine getting this call at, and
3 a.m.
right, and he's basically saying, you tell them you want to fly home like immediately, and get you on an airplane, get you out of there, and they're paying for it, blah de blah.
Mhm.
And I speak to the bus company. You're just like,
And I'm going on a plane for the first time.
But the thing was, they sent the insurance guy for the bus company, this dude. It was 3:30 in the morning, and the guy smelled from alcohol.
Oh,
And we're driving back with this guy, driving to the airport. He's driving us to the airport,
mhm.
and in the pouring rain still. And I'm like, we're not gonna get. Are
It's
we
like
gonna
4
get
in
to
the
the
morning.
airport? Are we gonna get to? This was all real. Get to the airport. This one is still like, she's like floating.
I'm zonked out
And
because
she's
I'm on
zonked out
Valium.
because
They
she's
gave
on
me.
whatever she's on.
And they wanted to admit me because I hit my head.
Right.
And
But
now I have a wedge head because of
So anyway, but you were well enough to go and travel
Yeah.
to get you back east. We wanted you back in New York and to be examined.
Yeah,
And
yeah, but
before you
They-
before you
they-
start, Maxine, I feel really bad for Maxine for flying home with me. Her hand probably will never be the same.
it was
Go
my
ahead,
arm,
Max.
it was my hand and my arm, like right here, and my hand.
Yeah, but still there for the grace of God go I mean.
Oh, no, because it
it
started
could
to
have
wear
been so
off.
it could have been tragic.
The
Yeah, well, thank God.
The Valium starts to wear off on the flight. Now, this is the first commercial flight she's in. I think you flew with Phil and
With Phil, that was it.
right, but you never flew on a major
Come on,
airline,
Nope. Nope.
So, I mean, I had flown before, and a number of times. So she's sitting next to me. She's, my dad, he's like, there, we'll be at the airport, get you, whatever. And she, as soon as we're taking off, she starts going, ah! It starts wearing off. She literally took her nails. I mean, I have marks, from her. Literally, she was drawing blood on my body because she
I was
just literally
terrified. I
dug.
started terrified. I was terrified.
She was terrified. And I'm like, the flight was good. The flight was
It
fine.
was fine. It was
You know,
fine.
but I wasn't good when I got. But
I
anyway,
so happy to see your parents.
oh, my dad, I literally hugged my dad. It felt like
Yeah, me too.
eternity. I did not want to let go of him. I was like, oh my God, this is like insane. And so I wound up suing them and
Mhm.
getting some money.
And
Not a
that's
lot,
that's how you
but-
bought your house.
Yeah, no, not at all. But
I did too. I
and
took a settlement when
right,
they had the insurance company come to my house. Now, I was
Right.
working at NBC at the time, so I'm dressed in my uniform coming home and I'm all mini skirt and all cleaned up. And he looks at me and goes, I don't understand. They said you were a smelly, dirty hippie on the bus, the people. I said, my mother looks at him, she says, they were in an accident. It was pouring out. She's in shock. She had a concussion, something.
right.
The guy with the bus, the people were horrible.
Yeah, they were terrible. That's why my father
Anyway,
said.
guys, I hate to interrupt
So
you.
anyway, we sued. I mean, I sued them, and I had everything had to be in trust till I was 21, so I couldn't even take anything. It wasn't a hell of a lot, but it was something.
No.
And,
It wasn't a good
it-
returning home. But anyway, as I say, our half hour is up.
Oh,
That was too
peace and
fast.
love, peace and love.
All you need is love. Na, 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 na.
And we'll have to talk about the Beatles later.
Yeah, we do. But
Anyway, guys, you have a good week.
Peace and love.
yes, we're
peace and love.
hoping, we're sending our
Prayers,
I
our prayers.
I don't know. I can't prayers. I don't know how are they going to work. I don't know.
No,
but we
I don't
gotta
think it's
send-
gonna work.
It depends whether you believe in God or not.
Well, the president Zelensky said we don't need your prayers. Something we need your ammo. Something like that.
Yeah, it's
Or you don't need to take me out because whatever he said
Yeah, that's-
something I forgot, but it was pretty
Right.
incredible.
and do you realize that Zelensky is also Jewish?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Which is another reason they want him.
Yeah.
Together.
Anyway,
But
guys, have a
we're
great
sending
week.
our as much
Yeah,
as we
but
can send
your
to them.
thoughts.
Yes.
I'll speak to you later. Let's hear more
Peace.
stories. Let's hear
Peace
more
from the
stories about
Tushes.
these two wayward youths.
Yes.
Bye.
Ciao.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom. Ta ta.
Shalom, shalom, tata.
Bye.